people came from 5 hours away from Wales. I mean, the guy who I was partnered up with came from south of Wales, 5.5 hours just to Bradford. And, you know, Game Fight made that happen.
How did I feel at that point? A sense of achievement, I reckon. People think about the cost of actually JFlo coming out, his fee, and that's their point. That was quite expensive. Welcome to the Game Fight Bradford podcast, where we talk about all things Jiu-Jitsu. In today's episode, we're going to go through our experience with having JFlo not only in the United Kingdom, but having him here at Game Fight Bradford. Tubzi, what was that experience like?
That was like, I had to pinch myself when I got the call at 8:30 in the morning. Do you want to come with me to go and get JFlo? I was like, am I dreaming here? And I was like, hell yeah. Massive, absolutely massive. I didn't understand the gravity of having JFlo at the club, best takedown coach. You know, for Game Fight Bradford, it's a massive occasion. You know, having first time in the UK. I mean, you've got so many prestigious gyms. He decided to come to Game Fight. I think that's massive. I mean, how did you feel about it?
So first, I think for those people who don't know who JFlo is. So JFlo he was on the Olympic team, judo. He's a very decorated judoka, and he's trained with the who's who of combat athletes. And for our particular field, when we're talking about jiu-jitsu, all the top guys in the world have trained with him. Jikar Bodoni, I'm just going to call him Bodoni. Bodoni's foot sweep comes from him. Joseph Chen's trained with him. Like the who's who trains or goes and trains with JFlo. Also, he's got a very decorated roster of UFC fighters. Most renowned amongst them is Ronda Rousey. So that's who he's very famous for, being Ronda Rousey's takedown coach. So that's the level of athletes that go to JFlo to seek his knowledge. And we brought him to Bradford.
Yeah, I mean, when you mentioned some massive names there, you know, that Ronda Rousey, she's a household name. She brought JFlo back to life, and we'll go a bit into that later on in the podcast. And just to throw a few more names out there, we all know John Jones, the GOAT, pound for pound, best in the UFC. He was his John Jones coach. Paddy Pimblett, who's new school now from New Age. I mean, these are the people who you probably know, but the guy is the GOAT. And like I said, it was such an honor to have him at Game Fight and to actually be sat in a car with him, speaking to him. So we're going to take you on our journey. And it was very personal. I felt it was very personal. I mean, you had some conversations with him. How did those conversations feel?
Yeah, they were good. He was very open to all of us. Any questions we had, we answered. So with the accolades and the people he coaches and the camps that he does, my questions were more coaching related and how he approaches the coaching side of things. So when John Jones comes ringing or his coach comes ringing and says, can you do a camp? What's going through your head? What are you thinking? What's the structure behind it? How do you work out what John Jones needs? How long are you going to do it for? What's the structure in, like, are you going to show him a technique like first, or are you going to show real principles? So all my questions to him are mainly coaching related, and I have done, as you've seen. I've brought some of that coaching that he's done and experienced into the classes for the kids and moving forward for the adults as well.
And he was dropping some golden nuggets like Coach Barber does. So what we're going to do in this podcast is we're going to take you through from the start to the finish, our experiences, what we got out of it from a technical aspect and how the seminar went. So we'll start from the beginning. I mean, even I don't know this. I mean, can you just walk us through, one, how this seminar came about and why JFlo, and who instigated all of it?
So the instigator was one of our coaches and one of our leadership team, Fezzi. So I think he was practicing foot sweeps or something of the sort at the time, and he wanted some insight onto it. And he's like, what we really need is JFlo. And I was like, if you want JFlo, send him a message, see what happens. Not thinking JFlo would actually respond to his messages, because when you're a school owner and you message people for seminars, not all of them get back to you. There's quite a few that I've messaged and you just get blanked, and that's fair play. You know, they probably get a lot of them messages. So I wasn't expecting anything of it. And then he messaged him, and JFlo, to his credit, responded. So then Fezzi's like, what do we do now? Like, he responded. So then the challenge came about, because what I didn't want to do, and this is, you'll know this from the ethos of a club if you watched last week's podcast about the origins of jiu-jitsu and what our mentality is. Like, I didn't want to make it so expensive that it excluded people. Because as you know, we're not from a particularly wealthy part of Bradford. So I didn't want to exclude it. So how do we set the pricing where we can get the right people in the room? Because those people who have the money can just go to JFlo, right? They don't need Game Fight Bradford to get access to him. So how do we set this? So Game Fight decided that they were going to put a certain amount in the kitty, right? So JFlo's asked for this much. Game Fight is going to put this much towards it, a certain percentage. And then it was cast to Umar and Fezzi, you need to make up the difference. Do the maths, work it out. You lot sort the difference out. And as long as you lot can cover the difference, and then I put some restrictions on as well. So I made it difficult for them. They can only have 50 people on the mats. I wasn't having more than 50.
And we had 2 classes, right? We had...
So at the start, it was just one.
Okay.
So we're talking about right at the start, it was just one. So we were having one class, 50 people do the mat. And they did the mats and it came out a little bit expensive. And then I said that the original thing was, if you're doing it for the adults, you're doing it for the kids. So then we put a second class on for the kids. But when we launched it and it went live, the kids didn't really pick up. Not many kids. I don't know why, but the kids, there wasn't that much interest. But the adults was all like, the first one booked up really fast. I think it was like just over a week. We were done. And then the second class, they were like, well, more adults wanted to do it than kids. We had like about 5 kids, but like I had like 15, 20 people messaging me saying, can I get on the JFlo? And I was like, okay, then what we'll do is the older kids, we let them in. The younger kids, we'll give them a refund and we'll do another seminar with someone else with them. And we're still organizing that stuff. And then we'll book it up with the adults. And that booked up quite fast as well. Because of the name and the caliber of the person.
100%. I mean, how did you feel, Umar? Obviously, your dad, Fezzi, instigated it with yourself. There might have been a little bit of, you know what, he's not going to respond. We'll just email him for laughs and giggles. And he actually responded to Fezzi and said, okay, and the ball's rolling now. Your dad's set the structure. You guys want it? Okay, I'll put the club will put this much money. And the rest of you, what kind of pressure did you feel, or how did you feel when you found out he's actually going to come? Or he's intending to come?
It was a bit of a shock, because it was late. It was late at night here when we decided. So I think we were in the chat and we were talking about seminars or something and who we can get, and we dropped loads of and the names, and we thought the ridiculous names like Joseph Chen and all these guys. We dropping so many names, and Fezzi goes, what about JFlo? And we email him. So he emailed him, and then 1 o'clock here, I think it was about 6 o'clock there, and he responded, and then we were like, now what? What could you do? So then I think we started doing the maths and started working it out, and Fezzi, credit him, he's pretty good with numbers, so he was working out the numbers and what we needed and all the things extra things we had to pay for, and then travel and all that kind of thing. So he was working that out, and then we decided to do 2 sessions. So now we had to pay more and split it between more people, and Fezzi I know it says me and Fezzi dealt with it, but a lot of it was Fezzi. He put a big shift in for the seminar, so credit to Fezzi.
Omar mentioned a really good point there. People think about the cost of actually JFlo coming at his fee, and that's their point. That was quite expensive. But then we got to think about all the add-ons as well. So for example, the flight over here, you have to pay for that as well. The flight back, he's not paying for that himself. And then you got to pay for his hotel. He's staying in a good hotel. And then his travel to and fro. Like that all of this stuff we got to add on to, and that's it ended up being like $1.5 on top of everything else. So if you add all of that stuff and put your maths in there, it adds on quite a bit. And then you got to think about this: is JFlo's coming? He's not coming in economy.
That's what I was gonna say. He's like the Cristiano Ronaldo of takedowns. You're not gonna fly him in economy and put him on in ETAP hotel, right?
Exactly. So he stayed in a very good hotel, and there's nothing wrong with this. This is what he deserves. He should be there, right? So he stayed in a very good hotel. He was comfortable when he came. He said it was in the car, right? That was my best night's sleep.
That he's had.
So he stayed in a very nice hotel, and then his flight over here, he wasn't in economy. He was in business, and then his flight back as well. So we made sure that we looked after him, but looking after someone costs. So we got to add that on as well. So that was like at least 2.5K on top of his base fee.
Wow. I'm not going to ask you how much it is, but there's you can do the maths and it's not going to be cheap. So obviously Umar was tasked with Fezi to recoup or cover or get the ticket sales and so on. So it would have been a bit of a task for yourself.
Yep.
In regards to, so when we reached out to JFlo, obviously we're the Submission Grappling Club now. And yes, there is a bit of a focus on takedowns, wrestling and so on. What was the theme going to be prior to him coming? Was there any kind of inkling on, we want him to come? And because he's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well. Judo, he has many talents in terms of martial arts, not Eastern martial arts. We don't do that. What was your what did you want him to bring?
I was never going to ask JFlo to do a specific thing. Yeah? So if JFlo's coming, he can teach us whatever he wants to teach us. Right? If he wants to teach us origami, it'll be a very good origami class. He can teach us whatever he likes. So there was never going to be an inkling that, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. He's going to do what he wants. But it was going to be a takedown class. Right? It was going to be standing takedown, that realm, because that's what he's world renowned for. Yeah. So that's where we were going with it. But there was never going to be a moment where I said, JFlo, can you show me how to pass a guard or something? Or show me this specific thing. He was going to do what he wanted.
Yeah, I mean, he's the names we mentioned, your Ronda Rouseys, your John Jones, your Paddy Pimblets. These are world-class home branded names we all know of who have reached out to JFlo to specifically work on takedown. So that's what we wanted. We wanted the best of JFlo, and that's what we got. Do you want to talk us through the first time you actually, so obviously we were in the car, we were quite excited to see him. He's walking out of his Marriott hotel and we're like, oh, that's him. What were you feeling? How did the conversation go?
Let's roll it back a little bit though, like, because there was a moment where I woke up quite early that day because I needed to go pick him up, because I wasn't sitting him on a train. Right? I went, now he's landed in the UK, he's our guest. Right? And if he's our guest, we're going to chauffeur him. Right? We're going to look after him. We're going to make sure he's comfortable. He's not going to go wait on no train terminal or anything. That's not happening. Right? So I, from there, decided we're doing it. We're sitting. So I found out what time you wanted us to pick him up. We arranged all of that stuff beforehand. Right? So at 6 o'clock, I was up. I checked my phone, right? And I checked your messages.
Yeah.
Right? And it said you were online. So, and I wanted, like, I'm not a very talkative person. Right? I needed someone there that can spark conversation, make him feel comfortable, keep the conversation going.
You just needed someone with verbal diarrhea, and that's me, right?
So the first person I checked, I went, is Tubbsy online? I hope he's online. And it says Tubbsy's online, and it wasn't long ago. I thought the guy's awake. I went, let me see if I can get him. So I messaged you saying, can you come? And you were like, yep, I'll be there.
Yeah, JFlo, yes, please.
So I picked you up, went there, we drove down to the hotel, and then I got a message from him saying, I'm downstairs, I'm waiting in the lobby. So I went down, we parked up outside, you jumped in the driver's seat, and I walked in to see him in the lobby, and there was the money.
What was your first kind of what were you thinking when you saw him first? Like,
It was a big USA top on. He looked just like he did online.
Barber's so calm and collected and cool, so it maybe is the wrong person to, if I was there, I'd be like, oh, it's JFlo. Oh, yeah, we need to take you to Bradford. So were you apprehensive? You're thinking, oh, celebrity status,
No, I wasn't. I wasn't. I was just there. I just there to pick JFlo.
Yeah. And Umar, how are you? Obviously, you found out now you're getting JFlo. He's coming to Game Fight Bradford. He's coming to our gym, my gym. And on the day, how are you feeling like to the build up to it?
It was good. It was good. It wasn't like all the other, like a lot of the other events where I do lots of the admin and the prep and all that kind of thing. Because Fezzi did a lot of that. So I just turned up, did the first session, went to go eat with
He
him.
says he turned up, but let me tell you about this guy on the week lead up to this place, right? So I'm at home, I'm working, right? At lunchtime, this guy drags me to the gym, right? And he's like, this isn't right. That's right. JFlo's coming. Clean this up. Move this. Do this. Every moment that I wasn't training or working, he dragged me to the gym to clean up, polish, move, repair. I was just like, oh my God, like, JFlo, please come and go so I can stop doing this stuff in the gym.
This wasn't the admin though. I didn't do any of the admin.
You didn't do any admin. You did my head in.
Look, in the process, if I didn't do that, the back room would still not have the wall mats on them. So because of that, the back room has wall mats on.
Yeah, and it's looking awesome as well.
So I did do that. I helped get wall mats on the back room and help finish it off and clean all the mess that was there.
To tell the truth, I don't know who was the driving force behind it, but we're finding out Umar was. But I mean, like,
it's less stressful than the kids. Right now.
I mean, the back room has come leaps and bounds. Perfect mat space now for, PTs and one-to-one. So obviously props to Umar, then he forced you to do it. So I guess, that's what, Okay, so we've come now, we've come into the class, we've settled down, and people are coming in now. They're flocking in. Like I said, we had people come from New Age who are Paddy Pimblett's boys. I think we had his cousin or someone come, was it?
The coach's son came.
Paddy Pimblett's coach's son. We had British judo competitors who, on the world stage, and it seemed like it was like a red carpet event. Now, how were you feeling when you were seeing these people coming in?
It wasn't So when I seen the people coming in, I didn't know one from the other, if I'm honest.
Okay.
Because one thing that I didn't want to do as part of this is I didn't want to collect more information than I absolutely needed. That's not something, I'm not a data processing warehouse, right? So all I was asking for on the membership form was quite simple, right? What's your name? Not even what gym you're from, because do I care? It's not something I need to be able to get you to a JFlo seminar on the mats, right? All I need is your name, a way to contact you, so your email address, and then what's your card details so I can charge you.
Yeah.
Then were kind of the 3 bits of information that I needed. And we're very much like that here. Like, if I don't need to know your telephone number, I'm not going to ask you your telephone number. So I got the bare minimum. Now, what I also didn't know is, like, how many people are going to turn up? Because in seminars, quite often, like, even people pay and then they don't turn up. And the last thing I wanted to do is JFlo come and, like, there's 4 people on the mats.
Would have been a good private session.
Alhamdulillah, we had a full house.
We did.
Both sessions.
Both set people came from 5 hours away from Wales. I mean, the guy who I was partnered up with came from south of Wales, 5.5 hours just to Bradford. And, Game Fight made that happen.
On the verge of cancelling his anniversary for his
Yes, they brought an actual cut out of him to, like, we'll dive a bit deeper into the actual seminars to give the viewers a bit of an exposure to that as well.
How do I feel at that point? A sense of achievement, I reckon. Yeah. So a sense of achievement that, like, the first ever JFlo seminar in the UK, we bought him here, we did it.
I was good seeing all it, like, I'm not saying you don't really care about all the different gyms, but, like, all the people who were here, like the head coach of Malio was here, Roberto was here, like renowned in the UK, especially up north for his leg game. We had the Dreamer guys who were here. We had and that's just the local people. We had people from all over the place. I know there was people from Hive Jiu-Jitsu. You had the guys with the gi pants on, like they were serious. They were posting each other, flying, like. All these people from all around the country came just to train at Game Fight Bradford with JFlo.
It broke down, I think what it did, it broke down political barriers.
100%. And you know what? It's people just didn't come from the curry. And that's what people are coming to Bradford for. It was actually for jiu-jitsu, and that's a massive point, because and we're not saying certain clubs, and there's a certain cult and a certain division sometimes, and I really feel like when you saw all these people, it was a real feeling of togetherness for the jiu-jitsu community, even the judo community. We had, like we said, we had professional athletes who compete for UK, Great Britain. They were down, so it really was. And we can say it was an international event because people are coming from different countries. We had people come from Scotland. I'm sure I saw someone with a Dutch, something Dutch. I didn't go out, ask them where they came from, but they had something, I don't know if they're from there, but I'm going to take they are. So I'm going to refer it to as an international event. So I think, the point that you mentioned where it was so good to see like the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu family community come together. And that, I think, I know you're not going to take the credit for it, but you really, a lot of props due to yourself, because I can't remember that happening before, where you've got the likes of, you mentioned Dreamer, the Mataleos and GFBs, everyone coming together in one place. So I think, did that have some kind of, I know you mentioned sense of achievement, but did that impact that sense of achievement to you as well?
Less that, if I'm honest with you, because it's like I've trained with Ben before. Now, one place that I haven't really trained is Dreamer. I haven't been to Dreamer and trained, and there have been Dreamer guys who have come down here when we done roll for Palestine, roll for Syria, them guys. So some of them have, the main coaches haven't, and that's not anything to sly against them. I invited them, and I just don't think the timing met there. And there hasn't been an event where I've gone over there. So the Dreamer we haven't really crossed paths with. But I train with Matalio like all the time. Ben, we're quite on good terms whenever we meet at comp. We're very respectful. I meet Craig from Dreamer at comp, and we meet. So there's nothing there in terms of like animosity, like, oh, it's my gym versus your gym.
Yeah.
There's enough people in Bradford and enough different people for everyone. For 3, 4, 5 gyms to survive pretty healthy.
Yeah, 100%.
So there wasn't that, but it was just that thing that like this is big enough to bring everyone together. There was a sense of that, 100%.
Yeah, and it was a good feeling to see everyone with their different badges on and their gis and so on. I know one thing, you didn't do this for money. I know that for a fact. What was the reason you did it? I get this sense of you wanted to give back, and was this your way of giving back?
The boys wanted it, right? So the boys wanted it, Fezzi wanted it, all these guys so we have this little leaders group that I use to bounce ideas off, or they use to bounce ideas around about how to run the club, which direction we go on. So ultimately, the end decision, they keep telling me, lies with me. Right,
It was.
so they're forever telling me the end is in. But for me, it's and we call it mashra, like it's
a discussion.
Discussion, right? Because I don't have all the answers. That I'm old enough now to know that I don't have all the answers. So I'm gonna bounce it off people and see what their opinion is, especially people who have strong opinions. Like, they're the type of people I want. I don't need yes men. I don't need people to say yes to me. I need people to say, don't be silly, that's daft.
Yeah.
When I was saying JFlo, they were like, how, like, and we're talking about the money, right? I was like, don't worry about the money, because money is not the concern. What the concern here is the experience of the exposure of the community. Right? How are we going to get these people who are really focused on jiu-jitsu, how are they going to be able to have this experience, right? So when you go to someone like Roberto, and we did this on ground up jiu-jitsu, whoever hasn't been there, you're missing out. Go. He's an encyclopedia of knowledge, and I'm not joking. Like the guy, you ask him a question, and if you don't make him say, listen, like my wife's gonna beat me up if you don't let me go home, right? You'll be there all night, right? So when you talk to Roberto, he's always on about, oh, when I rolled against Dante Leon, he did this.
Yeah.
When I rolled against Andrew Tackett,
Andrew Tackett.
Yeah, and now he'll be like, when I went to JFlo seminar, I did this. So it's. But then, how do I get the guys here in Bradford? How do we get them people to be able to say, when I met JFlo, he said this to me, he showed me this. There's a thing that we have a standard of, like, something that goes back to someone. right? And you can trace it back. Who are they going to trace it back to? Me? Like, no, we need them to trace it back to world-renowned names. Right? One thing I remember about saying, like, we were working on half butterfly, and I was struggling with it. And he's like, oh, Ethan O'Flanagan does it like this. So he's been to an Ethan O'Flanagan seminar. Yeah. So he's been to big name seminars. Now, he's an absolute geek of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Right? But then how do I get the 3 times a week dad of 2, you know what I mean, working 9 to 5? How do I get him exposed to that level?
Yeah.
You know what I mean, and we did expose quite a few, and they were like, wow, they want guy to understand.
And when he gets into the flow of things and he just lifts the guy up and kicks his foot and he goes, boop, and you're like, wow, you can get that good. There's levels.
So that was my motivation. My motivation to expose the people here to that. It would have been cheaper for me and Umar to jump on a plane and go. If I want
And fly first class as well.
yeah, and jump on a plane and get some private with JFlo. I'm not even joking.
And it would have been more than one.
It would have been cheaper if we said, "Listen, Umar, you know what I mean? You got your passport. Let's jump on a plane. Let's go over to Legion and we get some PTs with JFlo."
And Keenan Cornelius as well.
That would have been me and Umar though. This time we got 100 people in the room, all experiencing that level.
Yeah, and you know what? It fits in well with the club's ethos. You know, like you said, community first, excellence as standard. And it, like I said, I know it wasn't for the money; it was more to give back. So, Umar, how did you feel about? Obviously, you had world class knowledge come to you locally, teaching you takedowns, foot sweeps, and then Roberto, who has an infamous and exquisite mustache. All you need to do is twist it on the end, and you know, is immense. Who's teaching you other things as well? So you were having like double dose JFlo, Roberto. You know, how was that for you?
It was pretty good to first. So like we were saying, Roberto is a big geek, huge geek. So the techniques that JFlo was doing, like both of us are both scooters, right? Never stand up. It's just not our thing. But JFlo was here. We thought, let's have a crack at it. Let's go. So I was with Roberto in the foot sweep class. So JFlo, the setup and the way he structured his class were pretty cool. So we were doing the games and stuff like that. And when I got into it with Roberto, like he was fixing all my problems. So like I'd go for foot sweep and he'd say, your right foot is just not in the right place. Move it here, move it here, move it here. Your underhook, drive it a little bit more. This hand, pull a little bit more. So like it was really good having a partner who was just such a high level and so knowledgeable. Even though he's not a stand-up guy, he's just a jits guy and a martial arts guy. So any problems I was having, he was fixing them. We only had to go to JFlo once for help. Every other time, Roberto just fixed it with his super extensive knowledge.
Yeah, he's really high level. He really is, Roberto, that is. And JFlo, I don't know.
And JFlo was great.
You'd think that we've bought Roberto over.
Roberto's just brilliant.
So the class has started now. So it was broken up into 2 classes. The first class, I remember you were speaking to JFlo about, he asked you, what do you want to teach? And you've answered this previously on the previous question where you said you wanted him to teach whatever he wanted. So just break that down for us a little bit, what he actually taught, and how his techniques were in that first.
So I think the highlight reels for JFlo when you go to his Insta are his foot sweeps. He's like, he can nail a foot sweep. In the middle of a sequence, we're going for different techniques, and then suddenly out of nowhere, he'll wipe someone off his feet. It's spectacular to see. I mean, he was doing it here as well.
Yeah.
He was doing it here where he was like pop, boom, and the guy's legs were going over his head. So I really wanted him to teach foot sweep, but I wasn't going to say like JFlo teaches foot sweeps. And in conversations, he was like, in the first session, I teach foot sweeps. I'm like, fun. I'm like, thank you. I was perfectly fine with him doing foot sweeps for 2 sessions. But one of the questions he asked was like, who's coming to both sessions? And there were about 5 people who were down for both sessions, mainly the coaches of Game Fight Bradford.
Yeah.
So the coaches of Game Fight Bradford were going to come to both sessions because the coaches of Game Fight Bradford, you know what I mean? Yeah, we're going to come to both sessions. So he's like, oh, if you lot are here for both sessions, then we'll do 2 different things. And I was like, no, it's all right. We'll do foot sweeps again. And he's like, no, I'm going to show you something else. So that's why he was like, I'm going to show you the Uchimata in the second one. I'm going to teach you the foot sweeps in the first one. I was like, all right. I get more knowledge from JFlo. I'm not going to say no.
Yeah, so I mean, I was here for both sessions. The first session, we were taking some pictures, and second session, I took part. The first session, what I noticed, and you guys will probably agree with this, is like he showed us a couple of foot sweeps, different variations, but how he broke it down for those 2 hours. And honestly, you'd think that you'd get bored of this. It's only a foot sweep, but the way he broke it down and he kept it engaged. How did you find that? You know, he broke them down into little sections and...
So I think you said this before as well. You know someone knows the technique when they can teach you for 2 hours. Like people who have coached before know how hard it is sometimes to get a class like over the line. And you're like, oh my God, I've literally taught everything and it's still half an hour to go. So to be able to teach something for 2 hours and people to still be interested 2 hours in, or he actually went overtime for us. It was like
Indeed.
2.5 hours, 2 hours.
He did a Q&A as well, didn't he? Which was over.
Yeah. So he was he had everyone like wanting to know more. So it shows how much he knows about foot sweeps. And the structure that he did the class in was something different. And so the games that he did at the start tied in really, really well with the whole foot sweep moves that he did at the end. So the movement pattern, getting used to just swinging your foot as a foot sweep, hopping on one leg and sweeping the floor. All these games that he's thought of and he's developed and learned over the years, and he managed to show us at the start. I found him really good, and so yeah.
Yeah, I have to say as well, the little details that he was showing and the way he was applying making us understand, like from experts to laymen we had at the seminar. Even like me being the layman, I totally got it, and I was like, what is he on about? Sweep the floor with your foot, and that was in one of the classes, and it made sense. Coming back to you, Barbara, so obviously you're a coach, and how did you find his coaching style? Obviously it works, but what were you most amazed about his coaching style?
So again, he's coached at a high level. So I was like Umar, I was trying to look at things we can take away from his coaching style and what he's doing to keep people engaged and what he's doing to like move the class around and move from phase to phase. And some of the things is that I took away from it was not everything has to be super functional and end game polished. So if you look at the foot sweep stuff, he was like, this isn't going to work in a real roll, right? But if you get this, right, you'll get your timing down, and then you can go to the rail. When it comes to the real time, your timing will be better. So this is the drill, it's not going to work. You can't use it in real life. And then on that drill, which he said isn't going to work, he slowly built it up to the end where it was like, okay, now that drill that didn't work, now we're starting to get reactions off of it. We're trying to get movement patterns off it. Now we're talking about off balances. So that was a really good way how he took one nugget, admitted this is not going to work, and then built a whole system on it. And by the end, we were like, oh, actually, you know what? I can get this now. I can make the person take that step I need him to take and sweep that foot. So that was really good.
Yeah, and I found that in the actual class, in the first class, when the first class, as we said, was on the foot sweeps, the class was so engaged into a very, you'd say, it's not a complex move, right? But you can apply it to a lot of situations. And the way he kept them engaged was quite impressive with the little games. So we've done the first class now, and we've taken him out to eat.
Oh, yeah.
We've taken him out to eat, and I was looking forward to this because I've been up since 8:30, starving. And we decided to go for a curry. We asked him what he wanted, and he said he wants a curry. So obviously you provided. And I'm keeping asking how this feeling, but it's like just because the magnitude of JFlo being there, you're sat down.
What I'm going to do, I'm going to reverse this. Hey, Tuzi, you were in charge of this bit. So what happened was, at this point, I'm not a foodie. So I leant on Tubsy. I went, Tubsy, you're going to pick the place. And then I sent you ahead. Because we only had a limited time between the first session and second session. We had to get out. JFlo went to our shower. We had to get out. Food had to be made. We had to eat it. We had to get back for the second session. So, Tubsy, how did it feel going to whichever restaurant you went to and ordering on behalf of JFlo?
Felt like a Joey. I felt like his slave not getting paid, but it was okay, it's JFlo. No, when you obviously the Cash was there as well. Cash was there, and Cash is loud like me as well. And we were throwing names at it. Cash was driving like a madman in the car, absolute madman. I put my seatbelt on. Obviously, you've told us we JFlo kindly overstayed the class. You know, it was 2 hours. I think we ran 2 hours and 2.5 hours, 2 hours 40. And I'm thinking, Baba, we need to eat. But I'm thinking, but I need to eat. But I'm saying, Baba, JFlo needs to eat. He's been on a plane, just landed. So, Tubza, do what you want. Where do you think? So I'm saying to JFlo, where do you want to eat? And he's saying, burgers. I'm throwing all this. And I said, look, we're known for curries. Do you want Asian food? South Asian? Yeah, whatever you guys want to do, fine. Me and Kasha in the car, I think we said international first.
Yes.
Which is my go-to for a garlic naan and chicken tikka masala. Very nice. And on the way, that was done. We set it. And then on the way, we're thinking, Cash sold me on Pind. So we went to Pind. So I'm ringing you. You're not answering. He's not answered. No, Musab's not answered. Then you answered. Then I'm saying, listen, tell him we're going to Pind now. It felt like as if we were bloody going, I don't know what it felt like. Yeah, it was crazy, man. And then I said to Cash, why are you driving so fast? And he goes, oh, I thought you need to go home. I said, no, we're just going to the thing. I said, drop me off afterwards so I can get changed for the class. Anyway, we've gone to Pind. We've gone there. Me and Cash, the waiter, the poor lad. Me and Cash is shouting garlic naan. I'm shouting 1 kg of lamb karai, 1 kg of that. Cash, is it going to be enough? We're going to have big eaters. You know, we had Ben come, you were there, Umar, Musab, you know, Marways, JFlo himself, Cash. There were a lot of people. You know, there's about 10 people were eating.
Yeah.
So anyway, we over-ordered because of so much food, you know,
None of it went to waste though. I ate it all.
Definitely not good way.
so nice. And the best thing about it, when JFlo came, he absolutely loved it. He ate so much for a small guy.
Yeah, nice.
It was, yeah, Pind is good, man. And he absolutely loved it. I mean, we were joking about it coming. I think we finished just about half an hour before the next one started. And we were like,
Next one was hard. It was hard.
I've gone home and got changed and thought, this rash car's a bit even tighter for me. What's going on? It was my, you know. And so, yeah, that was a surreal experience, Barbara. You know, we sat in Pind and bloody JFlo is sat next to me. And we're all talking, and you know what? Yeah, everything. And the best thing was, it was like as if he was one of the boys, right?
It felt really normal, like answering all the questions.
Yeah.
Really comfortable.
Yeah, and I have to take my hat off to JFlo as well. You know, like as soon as, you know, he's a celebrity. You know, there was no barriers with him. We were talking about a lot of personal stuff, which we won't share on camera, and we were getting like insights to like, you know, what's going on with certain fighters and the dramas, and how he knows Khabib's trainer.
Yeah, Ali Abdulaziz.
Yeah, and we were like, really? Like, oh, can you put in a good word for it and stuff? You know, we might really want him as well. And, you know, the props to him, it was so comfortable with him, talking to him like from the car when we mentioned he came and he was letting on, talking about his brother. So I think that was made it more comfortable for us, that, you know, it is going to be a good day. So we've eaten now anyway. And that was the story of eating with my own masala in there as I do. So the second class, Umar, I'll come to you. You know, you joined the second class. What was the second class about? You know, what was
Second class was an Uchimata class. Completely different to the first one, to be fair. I think it was a little bit harder than the first one. More technical, more moving parts. Yeah, it was just a bit of a harder class. But still it wasn't like we were lost. I think everybody got the move. And I think he broke it down really well. Like we started off teaching us the Uchimata, the movement, then got us to do it from the floor when you're kneeling. And you think, like, I remember doing it. I was with Fezzi then, and we were looking at just like, no way, like you're actually gonna go flying here. Like when he did it, the guy went flying, and we're like, no way you go flying. So I go, all right, Fezzi, wait a second, like let me do this, right? Let's see where you go. And I just kicked him, and he went, whoa, I'm flying. I was like, no, like you can get some force even when the guy's kneeling. So it was a good intro into how hard you can boot someone in the sky and their break fall.
As you said, we did. I was in the second class, and testament to JFlo's coaching style. Even my my little girl, she got certain aspects of it which I was surprised, and that's testament to JFlo's coaching and how knowledgeable he is. How did you find the second class?
So I love the Uchimata. It's like, so in the gi, it was like my go-to, and even in no gi, I'll hit it whenever I can. It's an amazing throw. So to get his insight on it was was fantastic. So I loved his little like insights about the overhook and pulling people up, and like the little details about it that I didn't know before. And that stuff about going from the Uchimata and that bounce, he had us up against the wall.
Yeah.
That spin coming to the front headlock. Oh.
I was thinking, what on earth is he doing? It doesn't make sense. Like, why are you making me 40-year-old? Yeah, like, you know, but it made sense. Why?
And yeah, that was a brand new movement to me. And I was just like, ooh, and I love it when like there's new movements I haven't done before in jiu-jitsu, even after like 26 years. Like, I'm just like, oh, wow. So when I was able to hit it, I was just like, oh, I like that movement. I'm going to try it. And I was spamming it in that next week. I was spamming that movement.
The way he calls to do that crazy flip thing, and we were like, what are you trying to do? Like, where's this play? And then the next move straight away, like, he linked it in really well. You could see why he'd use it and the reasoning behind doing it. So he doesn't get you to do random crazy flips for absolutely no reason. There's a reason behind it, and it works.
He's an absolute genius, because for me, like, obviously, like yourself, Baba, you're well versed with the Uchimatas. But then, for example, for me as well, like when he said that if the Uchimata is not always there for a throw, it's like he taught you do the Uchimata, it doesn't come on you. It's a way how you can pummel in an underhook again. Yeah. And so these sort of things were the absolute gold. And like even we're using it to go to that front head, that, you know, I'm presuming it was new to you as well, or you might not have.
So I've done the Uchimata to the front headlock before. So I've done that, but there was some footwork that he was doing which was new to me. So I've done Uchimata to front headlock before, but it's a hit and miss move. Right? So sometimes I get it most times than not, but there are times that the people like they bring their head up and build height. But the way he did his footwork and his hand positioning, I was like, ooh, that's new. And it reinforced that ability to move the percentage of getting that transition a lot higher. So I've seen that transition before, but not with the details that he had, especially the footwork details. That were really good. That's what I was looking at.
Yeah, you could really tell he was so versed and so have an in-depth knowledge of the uchi as well, and even the foot sweeps. And one thing I realized about him, there was a very philosophical side to him as well. You know, he's talking about this is your destiny, and you know, it was the way he was teaching was like a dance. You know, like he was dancing around, and like I liked the way how he was. Yeah, it was like
Super loose.
Yeah, it was just so good, and I guess that comes with experience, right?
We talked about that in the car, right? And this is an insight that we are going to give, because it wasn't a personal, he had personal aspects linked into it and why it was, but he was talking about how when he went to D1 wrestling, his first coaches encouraged him not to do the wrestling style. So the wrestling style is grind. I'm gonna go through you like a train, and I'm just gonna beat you down. And right at the end, when you're absolutely shot, I'm gonna take you down. So that was that mentality. But his coaches encouraged him to do his style, which was very much stay on the outside, you know, movement, flank, create distance, create movement, create off balances. So that style of stuff. And he was talking about the hips, where wrestlers' hips very much go up, down, left, right. But him as a judo person, he could twist. So he was adding that dimension into it. And you can see that in his, you know, when he, on his Insta, as he rolls and he moves, and the way he moves and his hips turn, like he can do the forward, back, up, down. And he showed it in the class. Like he was like, look, I can do a single leg as well. And he just shot in air for a sweep single. Of like, the guy he definitely can't shoot a sweep single and a double. So he can't do them movements. But his style is so he's got the aspects of judo and the ability to turn his hips and brought them in to his into his no-gi stuff, and we were doing no-gi, right?
Yeah, and not just to turn his hips, but with so much force. And because there was one particular drill we were doing where it was you like kick forward and turn back around, and I was doing it and I'd done it, but then I looked at him and the way he whipped his hips around
Like you're going to take off.
like he was going to take off. And I think that's as we know in judo, a lot of power comes from the core and the hips, and it was so strong. And he was going on telling us about all of the surgeries he's had, and
Oh, yeah.
wow, how is he still standing?
And he's hopping on one leg and he's like, I can do this without an ACL and a PCL. You can too. Then 2 seconds later, like 20 seconds later, I'm like, oh, my leg's burning. Just cut off my leg down.
Mentioned to us like he had so many surgeries, and he like Umar mentioned his ACL was gone, his PCL, his LCL, and you have to give him some credit there for what he's still doing. And it seems like, and I think you guys will agree, there was a real passion for this coaching aspect.
Yeah.
And I know I said I'm not going to touch on too much of a personal aspect, but I'm going to touch on it a little bit. There was a conversation we had with him in the vehicle, in the car, where he was going on about his achievements, and maybe he might not have achieved so much in his wrestling, his judo and so on, but he found a real purpose in coaching. You know, in your opinion, would you agree with that?
So I do not think his athletic endeavors were a failure. To say he was trialing for the Olympic judo team, and he was one match away to going to the Olympics.
And he went into that as well, didn't he? Like, yeah.
He went into that and he'd beaten that guy many times. Like, so that, like, I've been against, like, so my first coach, Tony Devine, was on the British judo team. I've been against Tony Devine. That is no small feat. Like, it's like, the elegance that Tony used to throw us with was like, you know, like sometimes when I'm doing a sweep, and I do it in slow motion, and then I bring you back in slow motion, Tony could throw me like that. So he'd take me on a throw, and then he'd like, oh yeah, this guy's not very good. So he'd just slowly take me over. And then he'd be like, as I touch the floor, he'd slowly bring me back. I'd just be there in limbo, like, okay, Tony, like, you just do you.
Let me know when he does.
So him having being at that level, you know he's that good. Yeah. Okay, he didn't qualify for the Olympic team, but he was moments away from it.
Yeah, he was like in the car, he was talking to us, told us a full story, and you could tell it really sits deep with him. It really was. And you know, this is the whole point of it. He was so made us feel so comfortable, because whatever questions I hammered him with questions on the way. He's just come off aeroplane, had a one night's sleep, and I'm hammering him with like so deep questions. Anyway, he went into it and he was saying, like, his coach was saying to him, don't do this one particular thing, and I can't remember what he said, that don't get his grip here or somewhere, and he ended up doing that, and he ended up
don't give him your left sleeve.
Yeah, and he give him his left sleeve, and he lost against the guy. So he has this idea of that he's not very, I got this feeling anyway, that he hasn't achieved much in his martial arts.
He doesn't feel like, it felt like in that conversation, in that part of his life, he felt like he didn't achieve his potential. Yeah. So you're asking me, like, I don't think so. Like, I think like he did very well.
Going on the Olympic judo team.
And even in his wrestling, he was top 3, I think he was saying, in US. I think it might have been at collegiate level, or it might have been higher. I'm not too familiar with the levels, but he very, very capable wrestler as well. And he was telling us about the story, how he just left one day, and he had, in the middle of the night, got in his car, drove off, and it was so it was
a very emotional, very passionate story. But like, to say he got to that level and then he just stopped.
Yeah, just went cold turkey, right?
Yeah, he just stopped. And then the Ronda Rousey thing happened.
So then he's stopped now, and he's telling us, and then again, there was a lot of detail he went in, and there was a lot of emotion. I won't be able to get that across the camera to you. I don't think any of us can, but as you were saying, just want to tell us about what he was saying, and that particular, let the viewers know about what he was.
So like he was talking about how Ronda Rousey wanted him to train her for the judo, for the judo aspect of her UFC and stuff, and he was like, no, I'm not the right person, and she just wasn't having it. She was like, you are the right person.
Really did not believe in himself at that point, right?
He didn't, and then she forced him because they're like Ronda Rousey's
Goddaughter.
goddaughter. So she was like, I'm not having no for an answer. You are training me, and that like, and then you could see like the light as he started talking, the spark,
Coming out of that dark place, and yeah.
the passion started coming. So going back to that, like his passion for teaching is evident. Like even when you speak to him, and then when you see him, like on the mats, like these are alien mats to him. Obviously never done a seminar in the UK before. But like as soon as I said, all right, JFlo, shall we start? He's like, yeah, no problem. I did a quick health and safety thing, fire exits, toilets, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to introduce you JFlo because everyone knows JFlo. And from that moment,
The mats were his.
the master, he owned them. He owned the space. I mean, he was so comfortable here.
Yeah.
Before he was doing this and there was a little bit of no apprehension, but he was sitting there.
A bit of respect. It was politeness.
Politeness, respect, and he was reserved. But as soon as the class started,
Oh, he was in his own, wasn't he?
yeah, the energy came out, the persona came out. Like JFlo was here now. So you saw that light turn on, like boom, and I sat back. I'm like, he's here.
And Umar, you at the end, I remember in the first class, or it might have been the second class, we were sat up near the reception, and we had everyone wanted something to take away from JFlo. Even Cash got involved, and he was like doing a full-on interview with him and stuff. We all had our moment with JFlo. How was that particular moment for you? Because I know there was a big focus on actual coaching for you. What were your key takeaways from what you were asking?
That was really cool. That was sick. You could just ask him any question you want, and he has traveled a lot. Like he was talking to us about how he's traveled to all these countries and done all these things in all different countries. So I really wanted to extract loads of knowledge from him on how training around the world looks. And a big one for me was training in Japan, because Japan is like one of the daddies of jiu-jitsu, of judo. You want to do judo, you go to Japan. And our old judo coach who came and did the kids, he was talking really highly of Japan and how his time was in Japan. So I wanted to get JFlo's experience of it. And he was talking to us about how their class structure is, and it's just completely different to how we do it. We do our drills and everything first, and then at the end, okay, now you can do your rounds. Whereas there, it's all the way around. You do your 5 mandatory rounds. You have to do 5 rounds. Rounds after that are compulsory. You can do them, or you can just go home. Optional. So yeah, sorry. After that is a technique. If you want to stay for it, cool. If you don't want to stay for it, then go home. But you have to do your 5 rounds. Your rounds are mandatory. Everything else is optional, which is completely different. Here is you can do your technique, then you can go home. You don't have to do your rounds.
And I think that's the message of running.
So now into the kids classes, when I'm with the higher belts, we do our rounds first. We do 2 or 3 rounds at the start. We do our technique, we do our positional rounds, and if I'm feeling generous, I'll give them a round at the end. But after the first class, first time I did it, I went to kids and I was like, do you prefer round the start or round the end? And all of them, bar one kid, said they like the rounds at the start. And the kid who said he didn't like the round at the start is my brother, because he actually found the rounds hard. Normally he waltzes through the class nice and easy. This time he had to work. It was hard for him. So round at the start, the kids liked it, and I'd never think of it before. So one of the parents even came to me at the end of the first class, and they were like, "You change your structure around. I like it this way."
Bo said that's why.
He said, and he goes, "I like it this way. I like that you changed something up. Like things are changing. You're not stuck on one path." I was like, "Yeah, respect." And just thanks to JFlo and his trips to Japan and what he took away, and the little interview we had with him.
What was great about the whole thing was, like, honestly, again, I can't stop saying this, but testament to JFlo. He actually gave so much time to individuals. When we were in the actual class, he's not thinking, oh, we've got Great Britain judokas here, or we've got head coach of so and so, and or even you, because you are his host, and come to you and spend more time with you. He was actually walking around and spending time, and while I was filming, he was fixing issues, the details, and I think that was really great as well. Yeah, so that was one of the great things as well, where he's give time to everyone. And again, I've said this quite a lot, is testament to him. He was so comfortable, he made us feel so welcome. So the class is over now, and we've had a fantastic day, we've had great food, we've learned so much from him. That Fez is happy, the email at 1 o'clock in the morning, wherever you were sat, it paid off. And the community got, what you wanted them to get, and you gave back. You spent a lot of money, and, you spent a lot of money, and I know how much, but I'm not going to say it, but it wasn't for the money. And like you said, it was to give the community back. How important was that for you?
It was what it's all about, right? So just to put, Game Fight is not a super affluent club. Right? So like, we don't make massive money. We keep our memberships as affordable as we can. Yeah? So one thing that I know some of our admin team talk to me about, and Umar knows this, right? Like, put the prices up. And one thing that I'm not going to do is put the prices up. Right? For as long as I can keep the prices where they are, I'm going to keep them there. So don't think, so the perception might be that, we spent a lot of money on JFlo, it didn't cost that much, and it's an affluent club. It's not. Right? We haven't got the money to throw around for free, for like loads of a big pile of cash. So just stick that bit, put that caveat out there. But in terms of the feeling afterwards, I think what we set out to achieve, we got. Yeah. I wanted the community to be able to have JFlo. Some of the guys that like are not that, like, they're not geeks. They're not like me and Umar, and we're talking about Roberto, who are like,
gonna go to spend 9 hours driving down to Bournemouth. They're not gonna do that.
Yeah, and that's where, like, one of the things when we were still in the organizing phase then, when we went to Bournemouth. So we had a leg lock camp in Bournemouth with Matthias Zinski. So we went down to Bournemouth, took us 9 hours because of traffic and all that stuff. And one of the things, I was sat in the hotel thinking, like, of the students that are in Game Fight, how many could do this?
Yeah.
Right? Taking a weekend off, spent a lot of money on the tickets to actually get into the camp. Then we paid for a hotel, like the travel down here, the travel back, the food. Like, that was an expensive weekend. And it was just 2 of us.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's not many people, like, I'm trying to go through like the member list. I'm going, there's not that many people that are willing to do it.
Yeah.
That can find the words and be like, have the financial means to be able to do that stuff. So the whole thing there was like, at that point at the camp, I was committed. I was like, we're gonna get this over the line. As long as JFlo said yes, and he had kind of indicated that we can make it happen. So at that point, I was like, we're gonna make it happen. But there was a big sense of like, we've done what we set out to achieve. We brought JFlo to Bradford. The boys from the club have come, they've spent time with him, they've seen the level of that coaching, they've seen the technical aspect, and they've been with JFlo. Got pictures.
Got pictures for the gram. I know everything you do is not for the money. I really do know that. And there's one thing I really believe when you say that, because it shows. But I remember you profoundly saying, and this was off camera when we were just talking, and I said to you directly, why have you done this? And I know this was for the community, and the community knows that as well. But you said to me, it was so my sons can say, later on in life, I train with JFlo. So how was that for you when you saw the happiness and you saw them, Umar was rolling and talking to him, Usman was here. What was that like for you?
That's sick, isn't it? It's like as a dad, you can only provide the experiences. So I was able to give that to both of them. So yeah, that was a very proud moment.
Yeah,
But the same question was to you as well. Like, when your door walked in, and you like, and you were, I know you were explaining to her, like, just a once in a lifetime opportunity, like the caliber of coach he is. How was that for you when you see, like, you open up your phone, you press on your camera roll, and Hawa and JFlo's there? Like, how was that for you?
For me, it was massive. I mean, initially, I wasn't going to do the class. I paid my fee for Hawa Noor, and obviously you said that the demand for the class was higher, and I was like, we're not going to do the kids. And I was like, oh, I was a bit, a bit gutted sort of, but then you were like kindly said, bring it down. Yeah, it was amazing, man. And this is like all thanks to Game Fight, to Fezzi, to you, to Coach Barber. It really is a once in a lifetime, because when Hawa Noor was looking at JFlo on YouTube for 2-3 days, and I remember when she walked in that she was waiting for me at home. We were too busy eating bloody chicken and biryani and mango, and Ben Bennett's throwing all these jokes out there, and it was, while we were there, she's waiting to come to JFlo, and when she saw JFlo, she's like that. And she, it was amazing, man. Everything we do is for our kids, right? Everything's for them. Yeah. And for me personally, I put a lot of effort into it for her. It was amazing, Umar. It was so good just to see it and see that picture. It was great.
I remember one of the other kids walked in. We talked about him before, when Taha walked in, and he came and he shook my hand, and he goes, "Where is he?" Because he was talking about, like, I was talking about JFlo to him, and he was like he was trying to work out where he was. And he goes, "Where is he?" And I pointed, and he goes, "Coach, I seen that guy on YouTube."
People, I forget JFlo. I walk down the streets and I seen that guy on YouTube. We're all famous. He just has 1 million followers. We have however many we have. And that's great. And I think, look, that sums up the whole kind of experience there. We really, there was a lot of emotion flying around on the day, especially the drive there. It was such a good conversation, and we might release some of the B-roll on later. There's a full interview with JFlo. We might message him to see if he's happy with us releasing that, like, on a real person level. And for me personally, I loved it. I can't thank Coach enough for making it happen, and Umar, and everyone loved it. There were smiles, the community was together. Like we mentioned, there's so many prestigious clubs, people fighting for Great Britain. Everyone's coming together, kids, parents, fathers, sons, daughters, all together. It was absolutely amazing. It couldn't be done without Game Fight Bradford. I'm sure a lot of the viewers would like to thank, yourselves and Game Fight for making it happen. Going forward, just to kind of finish up, I think you did a great job on the whole thing. Is there a few names that you might want to bring to Game Fight Bradford next?
So, what I don't want to do is jump on a seminar for the sake of jumping on a seminar. It's really about the need. Right? So right now, we're kind of like, there's a couple of comps going on, and there's still quite a few things going on in Game Fight. So I don't want to just like, let's go get the best name we can get. Let's start messaging Gordon Ryan. Let's look for the need of what we need when we need it at the right time. We've clearly demonstrated we're not shy to go and ask.
Yeah.
And
Wesley's not anywhere.
Wesley's not anywhere. And we're not timid in terms of putting the financial stuff out there. I've always said, this place doesn't support me financially. Yeah, I'm in a blessed place where I have another job. I work 9 to 5, and that supports me. This place is for you guys. Yeah. And that's where we are. So if there's a need, let's fulfill the need. And if it means putting money from the pot into that need, we'll do it. We're not going to shy away from that either. So we're not shy of asking, and we're not shy for the money. What we got to do, though, is be sensible. Yeah. We're not going to start bankrupting the place just because we want a name. We also got to be sensible. We've just done JFlo. We did really well on that.
Top that.
Well, there are names out there.
People out there.
People in the leaders group are like, what about this person? I'm like, let's calm down. Let's relax a bit. Let's get over this. Let's implement this stuff. Yeah. Then and what we always do, right? Umar's talking about, and we're finishing up, but Umar's talked about JFlo gave us insight into the coaching side of stuff, of what he's got, and Umar's starting to implement it. One thing we are not shy about is learning and implementing. Yeah? The systems we've tried already in the club are vast, and we always go back, and we mentioned this before, the conversations that me, Umar, Musab, and all these have about coaching in this club is like, we're on it all the time. It's one of the busiest groups on my phone, and sometimes you might have looked on my shoulder and see the messages, like the amount of messages I get on my phone from people, right? But that group is one of the busiest groups because we're always talking about who's next, who's doing well, who's not doing well. It's a constant ongoing battle that we have. So when there's a need, whoever's the best out there in that specific field, we'll ask them.
Yeah.
If they're free to come, they'll come. If they're not, we'll ask someone else.
And we've got the kahunas to pay for it as well. Well, coaches anyway. Just finish out, signing off. Umar, one word, how would you sum up the whole JFlo experience?
Successful.
Okay. And yourself?
Proud.
Proud. I would sum it up with lamb cry. Lovely. And this is from all Game Fight, the team at Game Fight Bradford. Big thank you to, JFlo for letting us into his plethora of knowledge that he has. He was, as we mentioned, he was like a friend to us. He let us into his life. I asked him some very controversial questions in regards to certain fighters where he's had exposure to. He told us all. If you want to know, come and speak to me.
Does the Uchima work? Underrated or overrated? Best question.
No, I'll tell you what the best question was. So there's that, right? Yeah. But the best question was when we started quizzing him about CJI.
Yes. How good was that?
He roasted him on it.
I know we're finishing off, but bloody hell. The drama that happened on CJI, and he told us about when he left and John Danaher's ring. He hung up on John Danaher. He's a bad man. And we like I said, there's a lot of B-roll. There's a lot more. We if you guys want it, we'll throw it out there on JFlo. Yeah, so again, as I was saying, just a big thank you to JFlo for entertaining Game Fight Bradford. It was massive to us, and there was a lot of memories made, which we will carry on for a very long time. Guys, we mentioned this before. Obviously, this is a Game Fight podcast. If you have kids, you're thinking about starting jiu-jitsu, we offer a lot of classes. We have Muay Thai classes 3 times a week. There's jiu-jitsu classes, wrestling classes. If you're a avid grappler to a beginner, this is, you can come down, have your 1 week free trial, speak to coach if it's something for you and the culture fits you well, which I'm sure it will. It's a very welcoming place. We're just located in Bradford 8 on Beamsley Road. BD9, and you can find a lot of information on the website and a lot of in regards to what kind of classes we have. It's a very friendly kind of club. Come down, give us a try, and that's it. That's
one last thing to do.
How can I finish this one off from JFlo? Rogan Josh.